Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Let's just get right into it. So today I'm making a list of top 5 character list, wish list that I want to see in the next Super Smash Bros. Game, assuming Nintendo makes one. So the first one that I would like to list is Ragna the Blood Edge from Blaze Blue. Now, if you've ever played Blaze Blue, like Ragna's sword is massive and is super heavy. So naturally, you'd think he'd be like a heavy character, bare minimum. But I think they should make him a super light character because honestly, if they make him a heavyweight, he would be completely unkillable and broken. So like, okay, Ragna's whole gimmick in his own game is lifesteal, right? So when he like lands an attack on the opponent, he steals your health and heals himself. That's like his whole gimmick. So for Smash, I think they should bring that over, except they need to tone it way down, right? So he only heals 0.5% on every single hit. That's the idea I have. And good thing even in the game, like Ragna's not really a character that's known for doing a lot of multi-hits. He's more about like single, really heavy swings, right? You know, unless you do combos and shit, but then that's a different story. So as long as Nintendo doesn't do something dumb and turn him into a crazy multi-hit character, I feel like a 0.5% heal wouldn't be too overpowered. But if they do give him multi-hits, they 100% have to make him a lightweight. You know, if they don't give him multi-hits, then they can make him like a heavy or super heavyweight character, mainly because of his sword, you know? But if they do give him multi-hits, a lot of multi-hits, then 100% they have to make him a lightweight. That way he's like squishy enough that he doesn't just sit there tanking everything and just doesn't die. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's my idea for balancing his lifesteal. And I really want to see Ragna, the Blood Edge, because he's one of my favorite characters. And I feel like he would totally fit in there, mainly because Cloud is already in there, and Cloud's like sword is already similar to Ragna's, except Ragna's can turn into a scythe, so he's a little cooler. I just really want Ragna to be in the game because I feel like Blaze Blue hasn't like had a really interesting game in a while. I know there's like Blaze Blue Entropy Effect. I think that's the new game. I played it. It's not really my style of game, so I didn't really like it. So I just thought maybe they should put Ragna in the Smash Bros. Because I really like playing Smash Bros. And I really want to play Ragna more. So yeah. Number 2, I'm gonna say that I'm adding is Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil. I picked this character because Resident Evil 9, you know, was on the Switch 2 this year, came out on the Switch 2 this year. So that's the main reason why I picked him. And the other reason, I think he would fit in because Solid Snake is also there. Solid Snake is like a very, the more like human, probably the only human looking character in the game. So I think Leon Kennedy can fit right in there together with Snake. And Solid Snake also throws grenades and stuff, and he also has a knife, but he doesn't use it, obviously. But I think Leon should use his knife. You know, he's got guns. If they can add the Joker gun, they can give Leon guns, and his grenades, and of course like his knives for, and stuff. And with Resident Evil 9, he started using an axe, so maybe he should also, yeah, he should definitely get that too, except without the extra, resharpening the axe and like fixing his durability. We don't need that crap. Okay, don't put that in the game. And like he's like really good at fighting too, kind of like Snake. So maybe like his forward tilt and dash attack can do some crazy, just kicks or punch and stuff like what Snake does. So that's what the hell. So that's my idea for Leon Kennedy. I think he'll be pretty cool. Pretty similar to Snake, except his entire kit won't just be explosions. So yeah. And number 3, we have Shadow the Hedgehog. I know everybody's like, oh, this is not new. Everybody says this. Yeah. But I feel like the Sonic franchise got shafted in Smash because Sonic is the only character in Smash, which is unfair. So I think they should add Shadow. I didn't pick Tails and Knuckles because I think Shadow has been is just more popular than they are, and you know, like with Sonic 3 making Shadow an even more popular character, and then Shadow X Sonic Generations coming out, I think early this year or like the end of last year. I think Shadow can fit in really well for the game, and but I think Shadow shouldn't just be the Shadow the Hedgehog mod because that is way too overpowered. And for speed wise, I think Shadow should like be slower than Sonic, because I don't want him to just be another Sonic clone. You get what I mean? I think Shadow should be slightly slower than Sonic, and Shadow should kind of have like, for his chaos control, right? So I think he should be able to teleport, like maybe like, you know, his up B is similar to Mewtwo, and then like his spot dodge and like rolls and air dodge can be similar to like Palutena and Mewtwo too, I guess. So like, you know, like how he teleports in the movie and stuff. And he can also stop time with chaos control, so, if he has an emerald. So I think it could work similarly to Bayonetta's like witch time, her down B. Or maybe it could be similar to Mifra's more broken foresight mechanic. And weight wise, I think he should be a obviously light heavyweight. A little bit heavier than Sonic, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't make him lighter than Sonic because he's already slower, right? So I want him to be a little bit heavier than Sonic. So yeah, that's it for Shadow. Number 4, I think, yeah, this is a niche character. I know of him because of BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. So I think he should be, number 4 should be Hyde from Under Night In-Birth. Yes, another anime sword character. This is the second one. But I think his aesthetic looks cool, and he has a mechanic that I feel like would really change the way Smash is played, especially against like campy characters. So Hyde's main thing in Under Night In-Birth is like his chip damage. He deals damage to the opponent even if they are like blocking with his shield. Blocking, right? So I feel like they should implement that, and like his attack when he attacks a shield, like maybe like if you shield his attack, you still take like 0.5% or 1% damage. Maximum should be 1. I don't think it should be any higher, because that 1% doesn't give the opponent knockback or shield stun or anything, and it would just slowly bleed through, you know what I mean? And even if they parry, they still take like 0.5 or like 1%. So it just turns Hyde into like an anti-stall character. You know? It doesn't break the game, I think, because like 0.5% and 1% isn't crazy enough for it to be game breaking. But it forces the opponents to stop hiding in their shield, because like, you know, it still does damage. So I think that's a pretty unique idea. But if Nintendo thinks that bleeding damage through shields is too overpowered for Smash, there's another route that I have, which is just give Hyde crazy shield pressure. But if they go this route, right, I think the only moves that he should have that does really good shield pressure should be his B moves. And his B move should have slow startup, but very low end lag, or like 0 end lag, making like the startup slow so it like balances out, right? So he can't just spam his B moves brainlessly, right? So like, but because the end lag is low, he doesn't get punished easily for attacking into a shield, because like, you know, the shield lag and stuff. So that's That's why I think, yeah. And his B moves having slow startup will also give the opponents a chance to react and dodge his B moves, so their shield doesn't get pressured. You know, like you have to respect it. You can't just drop shield, right, and just grab him after. You know what I mean? So yeah. And because of like mainly this these two mechanics, because of these two mechanics, that's pretty much why I think he becomes a very fascinating character to see, especially with how campy the game has been in tournaments recently. I think if they ever add Hyde, I think it would be pretty cool to see how much he changes the pacing of the game. And number 5, we have Traveler from Genshin Impact. Yes, another anime sword character on the list. And I think Traveler from Genshin Impact should be in the game mainly because of how massive Genshin Impact has been globally in 2020. And the other reason is they did have plans to put Genshin Impact on the Switch, but Genshin Impact was updating too fast and the Switch couldn't handle it. So I think they should add Traveler to Smash Ultimate. Well, not Smash Ultimate, the new Smash game that comes out if they ever make a new one. So I think Traveler should be it. And furthermore, they can make him similar to like Corrin and Robin, how they like switch genders and switch skins because there's 2 Travelers, right? So I think that could be pretty cool. And for his attacks, I've thought about this. All of it. They can just use my idea. I don't mind. They don't even have to pay me for it. They can just use it. I don't care. And I just want to see these characters in the game, okay? And all of these ideas that I've came up with, they can just implement them. I'm fine. I just want to see these characters in the game. And I don't think he should be swapping elements like what Shulk does, you know, with his Monado arts. I don't want that. Okay? That's annoying. I don't want to play a character like that. Right? I'm not into that type of gameplay. So, what I think the Traveler should do... Okay. And with, like, being 2026, Snezhnaya has been announced recently. So, we're probably gonna get a Cryo Element Traveler pretty soon. So, I think the coolest way to design it is just to make all his attacks have, like... Make his attacks have all 7 elements at once into his moveset. So like his basic normal attacks will just be physical, you know, nothing special. But his forward smash can be like the pyro one, and then maybe it can like do a burning effect if it hits. You know, like because when with his C6, right, he does that. Ooh, maybe they could like implement like the elemental reactions into the game, but I feel like that would be too OP, so I don't really want that. So maybe like just do the effects, you know, without the crazy elemental reaction bullshit, because I think that would be too overpowered. Just making it look clean would be fine with me. And then if he's like at 0%, like Link, he can like throw an Animal Blade Beam across the stage with like his normal attack, like kind of like what Link does, right? And Breath of the Wild Link, because they are pretty similar, because, you know, the Genshin Impact copy Breath of the Wild. So, yeah, I think he should have that too. It'd be pretty great. And for, like, his specials, for his up B, I thought about all of these. For his up B, he should recover with his Anemo Tornado, you know, to lift him up, like what Hero does. And then for his neutral B, he can Hydro Water Gun. Boom, 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 boom. But if he holds it for too long, he should take damage. Like what he does in game. And then his side B can be Electro when he like throws those Electro Shurikens, you know? And you know what, when he throws it, he like throws himself back. I think they should also add him throwing himself back in the game too. That should be a mechanic. And for his down B, he can place down like the geostructure underneath him, kind of like what Pac-Man does with the hydrant. But I also want it to be a little bit similar to what Steve does with the blocks, right? To make like their own stage hazards, but not as OP as Steve, right? You know how Steve, you can just place it anywhere? No. Travelers doesn't do that. Travelers, like Geoconstruct, can be only placed. You know how in game you can like put his Geoconstruct into walls? Yeah, he should be able to do that at like the ledge, at the edge of the stage. Like it's popping out to the side, and that punishes the opponent from recovering low. You get what I mean? So you can like block them from recovering low. Or, and it can also act as a ledge. So if you put that down and the opponent is recovering from the side, they can grab ledge faster because of that construct. So that would be, I think that would be pretty cool. And obviously that should have slow startup, because in game it also has a slow startup unless you hold E. But I don't think they should implement the hold E version because that's too fast, and I feel like I think the, you know, blocking the opponent from recovering low shouldn't be a reaction thing. I want it to be a prediction thing. So that's why I want it to be slow. And for the rest of the elements, for Dendro, it should just be his down smash when like the bloom explodes in the game, because it's like there's a really big AoE, so I think that fits just fine. And for Cryo, I don't know what his Cryo thing is gonna be, but I think for up smash it should be fine, because we don't know about Cryo yet. And yeah, that's basically it for Traveler. I know I talked about Traveler a little bit longer, way longer than the other characters. That's because I thought about it, and I don't want him to just be another Monado art character. So yeah, that's my top 5. 3 sword characters, anime sword characters, Shadow the Hedgehog, and Leon. So I don't care if people complain about there having too many sword characters at these points, because they have like 7 Fire Emblem characters, okay? Like, one thing they shouldn't be adding in the next game is Fire Emblem characters, let's just be honest. But yeah, but I feel like if you gave all these characters these mechanics, I think the variety would be pretty good. I think this could be pretty cool. That's pretty much it though for the video. See you guys, like and subscribe. See you guys next time. Bye bye.